By the late 1960s, a profound social upheaval was tearing through the collective consciousness of America. Between the Vietnam War and the fight for civil rights, the promises of the American dream felt hollow to a disillusioned youth. Many young people felt adrift in this cultural turbulence, experiencing a pervasive sense of spiritual malaise. Joan was one of them, a restless soul looking for a truth that went deeper than the daily headlines. She left America to join the Overland Hippie Trail, shedding Western cultural confines for a journey across continents. Traveling through Europe and the Middle East, she absorbed ancient landscapes and philosophies, moving further from her upbringing with every mile. By the time she reached Afghanistan, her journey had fully transitioned into a new reality, surrounded by cultures feeling worlds away from her youth. Her meandering path finally found a destination inside a simple restaurant in Afghanistan. There, English travelers told her about a young master in India. That story provided her broad search with a sudden, magnetic focal point. A spiritual journey often begins this way, when a general rebellion against the status quo suddenly transforms into a targeted search for a specific answer. In 1970, Joan arrived in India. She traveled to the foothills of the Himalayas, finally reaching the destination she had been pulled toward for months. She waited on a porch in Dehradun with her heart pounding until the teacher finally emerged. Prem Rawat was only 12 years old, yet Joan saw an ancient wisdom in his eyes that belied his youth. He bypassed all superficiality and asked her a single, blunt question. "What do you want?" Joan didn't hesitate. She gave an honest accounting of her deepest desire. "I want peace." His response was a challenge. Search all of India first. This was a test of her resolve, followed shortly by a historic event in Delhi, where he delivered the Peace Bomb speech, a declaration of his mission to awaken the world's potential for inner peace. Joan was no longer a passive tourist. This confrontation forced her to become an active student, navigating India with a specific intent to find the peace she had requested. When Joan returned to the U.S. in 1971, she immediately shifted from seeker to messenger, bringing her experience of the East back to a spiritually hungry West. She spent months bombarding Prem Rawat with Western Union telegrams, pleading for him to visit America and share his message. Her efforts helped fuel an era of explosive growth. By 1973, tens of thousands of followers gathered for Millennium 73 in the Houston Astrodome, an event they proclaimed as a turning point in human history. But this peak of optimism was followed by a sudden internal crisis. In the mid-1970s, the family split occurred as Prem Rawat's mother and brothers broke away, fracturing the movement's leadership. For many followers who had anchored their lives to the organization, this internal schism brought profound confusion and forced them to question where their true loyalty lay. As the institutional structure splintered, every seeker had to decide if their conviction was tied to the public spectacle or to their own internal experience. Joan's choice was clear. She remained steadfast because her devotion was rooted in her personal experience of knowledge, the internal practice of meditation she had learned, rather than the family dynamics of the leadership. In her later years, Joan found a new home in Woodstock, New York. This phase of her life marked a transition from the high-energy enthusiasm of the 70s to a stable, enduring commitment. She integrated her practice into daily life through holistic healing, using polarity therapy and crystal work to extend that sense of well-being to others. Looking back on documentaries, she laughed at her younger, more dramatic self, but she always maintained that while the external circumstances of her life changed, the feeling in her heart remained the same. She viewed this as the essential core of her journey, the deep internal spark of recognition that transformed a life of mere existence into a vibrant testament to human potential. For Joan, the journey that began on a trail in Afghanistan eventually became a quiet, practical reality in New York. She proved that the peace she found as a young woman could survive the storms of the world and be woven into the fabric of a long, integrated life.